there's theories that it's the other way
So
around.
the cold doesn't bother him.
Yeah.
The cold never bothered me anyway.
What up, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Oh, I fucked it up. Damn. George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series.
No
I'm
robot
Nate.
voice.
As always, joining me, my brother, Zach.
What up? I'm not doing a robot voice.
I tried, and
It
I
was
messed it up.
you did a good portion
Until the end,
It
I
was a
fucked
good
it up.
effort. A for effort.
It was-
If you have never joined us or listened to us before, we forgive you. We are full spoiler. We will ruin the whole series if you haven't read it, because we like to talk about all sorts of theories and fun stuff.
Jon Snow dies in the books.
Yeah, I mean,
Happens in the show,
yeah.
too.
I don't really know if that is a spoiler at this point.
I know.
But this is your warning at the top of the show. Go away if you haven't read them and come back, because this is a reread. This is not our first time. Ain't our first rodeo, kid. If you have joined us before, thank you so much.
Yes, so last episode, we were reading Theon 4.
Yep.
Number 4. Fuck Theon.
Theon has taken Winterfell at this point
Fuck
and
Theon.
awakes to find something is off.
Fuck Theon.
Realizes he can't hear the wolves
Fuck Theon.
and that the boys have escaped with Osha and Hodor.
Fuck Theon and Mira and
Mira
Jojen.
and Jojen, sorry. And
Fuck
then
Theon.
he gathers a posse
Fuck Theon.
and rides out
Fuck Theon.
to find
Fuck
the boys.
Theon. Sorry.
They're led on a, as Nate put it, a wild wolf chase.
Yeah.
And it's fantastic because Theon just gets fucking played.
Yep.
And then Reek comes up with a pretty smart idea that he recalls some miller's boys at a small farm on Acorn Hill, not far from here. And they had 2 boys, and he's got a sack full of Bran and Rickon's things. And Theon immediately gets what he wants, or understands what Reek is talking about, and says, yeah, okay, let's do it. It's better to be feared than thought a fool. So Theon is a little bitch.
Fuck
and
Theon.
actually, Archmaester June, she said it, and she said she really doesn't like the term, but Theon is the textbook definition of toxic masculinity.
Yo.
And I don't think I've heard Theon summed up in a better description
At all.
ever.
Like,
he is
perfect.
the epitome of toxic masculinity. Archmaester June, not my favorite turn of phrase either, because I think there's better ways to describe it, but you're right. Absolutely, I think he is.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
this chapter, we're going to be joining Jon 6,
yeah,
a
fuck
much
Theon.
better man than Theon.
Thank God.
And last we left Jon, the Rangers with Qhorin Halfhand had arrived.
Halfhand's here.
And they basically got the deets on what's been going on, more with the wildlings, less so with the supernatural shit in the north. And we kind of had the discussion about how Cold Hand seems to be more, or Benjen seems to be more related to
the mysterious,
mystical, whereas Qhorin is very
grounded.
wildling, war-oriented.
Which is sick.
Dope.
And that's some of the stuff he mentions to Mormont. He says they need to be rallying the Starks and the North to get their assistance against the wildlings. Not be worrying about this fucking
Mance is doing some shit in the Frostfangs. We're not sure what, and that's what he says. We need to get eyes up here, up there, up there, up there, up there. And
and it leads them to basically allowing
picks a
Mormont to
assemble your team.
And so he asked Jon first. Boom, I want him.
Yeah,
I want
and
this
of
boy.
Of course, Jon agrees because Jon's dream was to be a ranger, so of course he's going to go out. And that is where we pick up with Jon 6.
Yeah, where they've been ranging.
Yeah, they've been there. They've made it a good ways. Jon and squad have spotted a wildling fire. Sorry,
Up in
scout
the-
fire
in the
high up on
Skirling
the
Pass.
side of the mountain. Yeah, watchers in the Skirling Pass, they're called, and they talk about how they can see it. So that's not that smart, but
Yeah, they're not actually that far. They're about half a mile ahead, but they're 2,000 feet up in the air as well.
And
Like,
Halfhand
it's
just
up
has
there.
a really cool quote where he says, "Fire is life up here, but it can also be death as well." And I think Martin did a great job.
It
in
really
this
applies
chapter.
to all the North in those
Absolutely,
ways, like with
but
the wildlings.
I thought Martin did a great job of painting how much of a beacon lighting a fire actually is here.
Yeah.
Where they are against this black mountain because
And
it's
there's
a
just
dark night, and there's just this little light. And
that's your death.
I think the best thing you can hope to have drawn to you is a fucking Night's Watch Ranger or a wildling. There's so much other shit that could see that and be like, ooh,
But
shadow cats.
At the same time, the shadow cats come because of the blood. They
The
wouldn't
blood,
have come
but
otherwise,
I mean, if
likely.
they're hungry enough.
I mean, yeah, but and we know that fire keeps certain other things at bay.
And also
Temporary.
I don't think a little campfire is gonna deter
Not if there's
a White Walker.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a legit one, sure.
So it is determined that. And then we learn that by Halfhand's order, they had risked no fires themselves.
Yeah. They've been eating fucking cold beef, salt beef.
That's just giving us a little peek at Qhorin, how smart he is, how intelligent,
and how hard.
And how
he
is.
He
if you're with him, we're doing it right. I mean, this ain't his first rodeo. He knows what the fuck he's doing to survive. And Jon thinks that they were eating cold salted beef and sleeping huddled together, and it reminds him of sleeping with his brothers when they were little. And it's just Qhorin isn't sparing any luxury or giving them any comfort to do what needs to be done.
So I did want to just mention, because I don't think his name gets brought up again, Squire Dalbridge. Just because I like Squire Dalbridge. He was a squire for some king at some point in a past life.
Call him Squire Dalbridge.
Kind of stuck. He's like a 55-year-old dude, but he was.
I love this whole squad. This whole squad is pretty dope.
Well, because he had thrown in a little quote about, I wonder what Mance fears, and I don't know really how it applied there at that little particular situation, but it was just an interesting question.
Yeah.
And
these people. I think these people, especially Qhorin, Jon, Stonesnake, these are the ones who can think like wildlings and not do it from a position of hatred, but from a position of understanding.
Yeah.
This is the way they're going to do things, because this is the way they do things.
Especially, we'll get that from Qhorin and Stonesnake
and
soon.
they do that here, where they determine they'll have a horn, and there will be at least two men.
Stonesnake points that out, which, my boy...
There will be at least two men. So Stonesnake is like, I'm going. And
because he's their best climber,
he's shown that he's a good climber,
far.
And Jon's like, yep, me too. And Qhorin's like, cool, but Ghost is going to stay here because he's easy to see in the moonlight, which makes sense.
Duh.
And so, Jon and Stoneskin load up with climbing gear and strip off the stuff they don't need, and they set off.
And they're told they're going to toss down a branch, a
lit torch
downwind to let them know.
And, so they strip off horses, helms, mail, and Ghost, and Stoneskin leads, and it's hard as fuck going. They start creeping up. At first, they're following the trail, and it's okay.
Yeah, but then it becomes basically a rock climb, and that's basically, it's like 2 pages of just how hard
the Skirling Pass is fucking scary.
Brutal.
The way the wind shrieks like a woman mourning her children through the stones, and
it makes Jon, though, he does think about how he's not unhappy that he came.
Nah.
He is glad he's made this trip.
This part just it makes me think of Arya. This is the little bit of wonder in him.
This is what makes me feel like he joined the Night's Watch for the right reason.
Oh yeah,
he's a bastard.
This is why he was disappointed in not being a ranger.
Exactly,
because he wants to see what's up here.
And so it's just he got to see like frozen waterfalls and the sunrise and shit, and like wildflowers blooming and like
icy waterfalls, a mountain meadow full of flowers, ravens, ravines so deep and black that they were sure to end in some hell. He had ridden over a bridge that was open to the sky to either side of him. He had watched an eagle in flight, and watched a shadow cat stalk a ram, moving down the mountain like liquid smoke until it was ready to pounce.
Can we say Varamir confirmed?
No, not Varamir. Orel.
Orel, sorry.
Orel, yes. But I believe that's Orel and an eagle, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, keep and watch. Because, and full spoiler reread, Orel is one of the wildlings. He's their warg, who wargs into an eagle. Jon Snow kills him, and we know has his basically second life in the eagle, and the eagle resents the shit out of Jon and tries to attack him multiple times. And so, I think that's the first nod to Orel, that the wildlings aren't only watching in the past, they're watching up above. Mance ain't taking no chances. And I also just thought that the Shadow Cat is another nod to Arya. Because Jon eventually thinks, first, I just think him taking in the wonders is very Arya, traveling south to King's Landing, and just appreciating the natural beauty. A meadow full of flowers, this terrifying bridge he crosses. It's scary, but it's, holy shit, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And then he thinks now it's our turn to pounce. And he wishes that he could move as sure and silent as the Shadow Cat and kill as quickly.
Oh,
Arya
Swift is
can fucking
she can catch cats.
Arya could absolutely move down the mountain like liquid smoke.
Oh yeah,
like I feel like this is just a nice little like Jon doesn't know it, of course, but his little sister is doing the same thing.
I was gonna say that's the funny thing is that we all respect and appreciate what Jon does, but Arya's way better than he is at this particular thing.
The ranging?
Moving quiet,
Yeah.
moving silently, moving efficiently, and with confidence, you know, and by repeating her mantras. He doesn't have any mantras. That's his fucking
He
problem.
gets one here soon.
He will.
When he's climbing. But he notes that he carries dirk and dagger as well as Longclaw because he's not sure he'll have room to use it. So, and he wonders who will prove the Shadow Cat tonight and who the Ram. And they stayed to the trail for as long as they could, and then it's treacherous ground. The wind starts kicking up, and Jon's little man fuzz on his face is frosted over. And then soon there's nothing below them but yawning darkness, and nothing above but the moon and the stars. It's a lot of descriptor imagery here, but I fucking love it. I love the North. It's such a odd place.
It's so untouched.
It feels like every little noise that Martin is like, oh yeah, there's something off in the distance. Like, what is that? What's making that noise?
What are you?
And they have to climb. To get up above the wildlings.
I suppose this is mantra, like 1 foot at a time.
Yep.
Just one step at a time.
Yep.
Just 1 foot in front of the other, man.
Yeah.
He's going to start snapping his fingers and shit, like 1 foot in front of the other.
Stonesnake goes first, securing a line, and then Jon quickly follows him up and just reminding himself constantly, don't look down, 1 foot in front of the other. Stonesnake don't give a shit. He's just handling it.
Yeah, they're doing a belay system where he goes up because he's the better climber.
Hammers in
a baton.
Which is
python.
a python. The hammer is muffled, but even still, Jon's like, fuck. Which, I mean, if you've ever been a kid, like, sneaking a treat or something, and, like, the microwave just sounds like a fucking nuclear bomb going off.
Yeah, just about anything.
And so, Jon slips once, but doesn't fall.
And he's, oh, man. Whew. Like, even my heart dropped a little bit there. I was like, oh no, Jon. Like, and I know
Jon!
Like, it's full spoiler reread. Like, I know he doesn't die for another 4 books or whatever, but.
And his fingers begin to ache and bleed. His burnt hand is seizing up. He cut his thumb, ripped his thumbnail open at some point, and he's starting to bleed and leaving smears. And it just, Martin does a great job of building the anxiety. Like, because I'm like, oh shit, now his hand's bloody. He's gonna slip again. Like,
this part made me think more along the lines of, he's talking about how much his hand hurts, how it aches and bleeds. He never mentions how cold they are. Ever. The only thing on him that's really showing to be cold right now is the
tips of his fingers.
Well, no, his.
Well, he talks about
fuzz.
he can feel the cold of the stone. Yeah,
but he's not complaining about it, and like it's middle of the night,
adrenaline.
no gloves. I'm just wondering if maybe it's.
No, I think this is just that adrenaline. He's doing work, man. He's scaling the side of a mountain.
Unless I mean, I suppose
it could absolutely be mystical.
I mean, and it's not to say that it's not cold. It's just why.
He's blood of the dragon.
Right. Well, yeah, because if he's the
maybe he is a little more like Melisandre.
Because we know fire burns him.
Yeah. Yes.
And so, there's theories that it's the other way around.
So the cold doesn't bother him.
Yeah.
The cold never bothered me anyway. Fuck. Frozen.
Nailed it.
Anyway,
I kicked the new desk.
They continue going up and up and up, and Jon feels that they are close, but finds himself thinking of Bran, little brother Bran.
Yeah, this is cool.
He loved to climb, and I wish that I had a tenth of his courage. Now, I mean, Jon, look at what you're doing, dude.
Well,
you're doing it.
You're
currently scaling a mountain and not pissing your pants in fear. Like, you've got some courage, dog.
To go and kill two
and
wildlings,
and to be very thoughtful about it.
Yeah,
he admires the man who goes for his horn instead of his sword. And so they.
I was gonna say the Bran thing. I just think it's interesting because Bran just wants to be a knight, and they're supposed to be these big courageous people, and he completely that's not I can't. I'm this, and even Jon's like, no, dude, you were the man.
Yeah, he
man.
was a brave kid climbing around, scaling Winterfell.
And so I like that.
So they begin to see the dull orange glow over the lip of the cliff, marking the wildlings as they're crawling up on their bellies. And they had built their watchfire in a shallow depression with a sheer drop below and the rock behind to shelter them from the wind. That windbreak allowed Jon and Stonesnake, Jesus.
Figure your shit out.
Stoneskin is a D&D spell.
Yeah.
Stonesnake to crawl up and creep on them as they prepare to kill him.
They kind of inch and do the little army crawl up to the ledge.
One is asleep, and Jon only sees hair, bright red hair, assuming it's a man. Yeah, Martin does the twist here, thinking it's a man, but it's a Ygritte. And the second sat near the fire, feeding it twigs and branches. The third watched the pass.
He had the horn.
There's very little to see, and the third was the one with the horn. And so Jon is like, shit, there was only supposed to be 2.
Whoopsie.
But Stonesnake indicates
he doesn't waste no time.
He nods
He's like,
to the horn bearer.
I'm getting the horn bearer.
So Jon nods to the man feeding the fire, and he thinks it felt odd to pick a man to kill.
Now, that's almost different than, because Arya just had 3 men she got to choose. Mm-hmm. And there was no it was a power, this adrenaline for the entire time. And for him, he's like, this is his first kill. Yeah. Right?
Well, of a live man.
Thor's been dead. But and
he wonders if Robb felt like this before his first battle.
Right, and because Arya had already gotten a kill or 2 herself. Yeah. By then, even though they were just like the little boy there, and then the guard, I think, in King's Landing or wherever the hell she was.
Yeah. So then, suddenly, Stonesnake is leaping down, and Jon unsees Logclaw and follows. And it all seemed to happen in a heartbeat, and afterward, Jon could only admire the courage of the wildling, who reached first for his horn instead of his blade. But Stonesnake knocked it aside before he was able to sound it, and then just hacked him.
Yeah, done.
Jon's man leapt to his feet, brandishing and thrusting a burning brand, and Jon sees the sleeper beginning to stir, and it's like, fuck, I gotta do this quick.
Yeah,
and then does.
He just fucking boom.
And then, as he kills the first one, the man twists Longclaw from his grasp, so Jon quickly grabs his dirk and runs up and jams it under the redhead's chin.
Going to slit, and then as he grabs her hair, he realizes it's her.
And Stonesnake says, a watcher, a wildling, finish her. And Jon of course, hesitates.
You yield?
He sees fear and fire in her eyes and thinks that she's no older than him. And for some odd reason, reminds him of Arya. Is that just him being sexist and being like, oh, she's a girl?
I think it's like a wildling woman. Yeah. The fact that she's got probably more of a... Because Martin describes her face very pug-like and squished and not unattractive, but... different, and I think I kind of picture Arya similarly, where she's just got not
maybe a little more sharp, sharper features on Arya than
exactly.
Pug nose.
Absolutely.
Okay.
But I think it's more of just that she's out in the wild. She's a wildling woman, and she's got that fight. Like, he can see that she wants to fight. And I think that's what it is.
Yeah, so he asks if she'll yield, and she does, and Stonesnake's like, Qhorin said nothing of captives. And
he didn't say nothing about no captives.
Yeah, all right, Jon, what are we, 4? And he says, give her a chance, she'll bury an axe in your fucking skull. So Jon asks her name and gets Ygritte, and she's like, I told you my name.
He's like, I'm Jon Snow. My father is Ned Stark. When I was 11 years old, I pushed my brother down the stairs. I once farted on Bran's pillow when just gives his life story.
He gives his name Jon Snow, and she flinched and said an evil name.
Yeah, she did do that.
Is that just because of the bastard?
I don't know. That's weird. Like, because I thought it was weird that in the North, that, like, as a wildling, like, they would give a fuck about a bastard. And so... I don't know why.
Why is Jon Snow an evil name?
I feel more like it's they're aware of who he is, not necessarily like that he was Ned Stark's son, and it's he's a Stark. I know he's a Stark, maybe. But I don't know. I thought it was strange. I didn't get it.
So Stonesnake lights the torch and signals the others, throwing it off the side. And Ygritte says that you ought to burn them you killed, and he's like, that'll be a big bright fire. You got other wildlings close by. You're hoping to gonna see it, bitch. Huh? And then Jon remembers Ulthor and is like, yeah, maybe we should. And Stonesake's like, nah, there's other ways.
Check this out.
So he strips them all down of anything useful and then, just chucks them over the cliff.
Right off the cliff.
And Jon helps him with the second.
They hear the soft splat at the bottom.
Ygritte watched, but says nothing. And then Jon realizes that she's actually older than he first thought, maybe as old as 20. And so Stonesnake asks Ygritte what waits beyond the pass. And she says, the free folk, hundreds and thousands of them, Crow, more than you've ever seen. And Jon's like, she don't know.
She don't know
how many. And she smiles, and he asks, why come here? What's in the Frostfangs that your king could want? And she just fucking ignores him, and Stonesnake's like, I told you. Like, I've seen a wildling bite off his fucking tongue to not answer questions, dude. So
Yeah, they're not going to give up information just because you're questioning. And he was pelting with a bunch.
Oh, yeah, he just berated her quick.
Bruh.
And then they begin to hear shadow cats feeding on the corpses below. As the sound echoes off of the rocks, and Jon's just kind of like, oh, fuck, that's fucked.
Yeah, that's pretty vile.
And then realizes how bone tired he is, but he dares not sleep. He took a captive. It's on him to guard her.
Good man.
I mean, a good man, but, like, I want to go to sleep. Just kill the bitch.
Just kill her. Just fucking do it. Just fucking nighttime.
So, yeah, he asks if the two they killed were her kin, and she says, no more than you. And he's like, the fuck?
Huh?
What's that mean?
What are you even talking about,
and she
dude?
asks who his mother was, and he was like, I never knew my mother. Some woman. And he's like, someone told me that once.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think it was because of Snow with the bastard.
Yeah.
Because
the association to Winterfell.
She didn't even understand, like, when he said that. I mean, I suppose a bastard, it doesn't mean you don't know your mother. So
yeah.
I guess you might not have.
Yeah, she might not know the whole Lyanna story, but he's like, I don't know my mom. And she's like, oh, so she never sang you the Song of the Winter Rose. And then she gives kind of a description of it. Bale the Bard made it. The king beyond the wall a long time ago. All the free folk know his songs. And Jon thinks to himself, well, we got some time before Qhorin gets here, so let's hear a tale.
Tell me about him.
And before Ygritte gets into her tale, we're going to convene our small council to tell you guys our tale and where you can reach us.
Yes, so we'll see you over there.
Sick.
What up? Welcome to the small council.
Sup?
This is the small council.
It is.
I just said that.
Yeah.
Are you going to contribute anything besides answering my questions?
Possibly. You can reach us all sorts of different ways. We'd love to hear from you guys, your thoughts, feelings, opinions, or inductees. And you can reach us a variety of ways. Nate's on Twitter at Manners Without. I'm on Twitter at Carstark92.
We also have the Instagram, which is the same as Nate's Twitter.
Same as that.
At Manners Without. And a lot of people like to send us emails. withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com is what our email address is.
We got a Patreon.
Yeah, Patreon's important because Patreon has all the bonus content. We get the extra episodes, the rereads of the sample chapters. We are doing our profile episode of Stannis the Menace, as voted by the patrons. And
who knows where we're going from there?
Yeah,
could be some more fun stuff.
All sorts of bullshit.
You could help us decide by joining our Patreon. So that's cool. And also, Patreon gets you access to a secret Facebook group, but
regular Facebook is available as well. Facebook.com/Brotherhood Podcast. We need rates and reviews. It helps us get more lovely listeners like yourselves. Tell your friends about us.
Word of mouth,
kind of
yeah,
stuff.
is a great way.
It's so good. But yeah, if you could subscribe and reviews, we'd need so many reviews.
We could use some reviews.
We would really appreciate those.
Fishing for reviews. Come on, man.
Fishing. I like fishing.
We need
Brendan
compliments.
Brendan Tully, the Blackfish.
Yeah.
He fishes too, so it's okay to fish sometimes. Sometimes that's how I'm justifying that. But we'll let you get back to Jon because it's such a good chapter.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And the good stuff is coming now.
Yeah, it is.
Let's tease them more.
Keep going?
Yeah, I guess.
A little longer?
No, okay, we end it.
Back. We're back.
We're back.
Here we are. We're back.
We're back to talk about Bale.
Yeah, we are. That's right. I forgot for a second there.
I was going to try to make it into a song, but I don't have one. So Ygritte begins...
It's not Zach the Bard, it's Bale the Bard.
True. Ygritte begins by saying that Bale was a great raider, and Stonesnake immediately starts snorting, saying a murderer, robber, and raper is more like, and she's like, well, I guess it's all about where you're standing. And she goes on to say the Stark in Winterfell wanted Bale's head.
Now, that line, sorry to cut you
off,
no. But I just feel like that's the most important line of this chapter. Is that little lesson that he's kind of depends on what side you're standing on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because she calls him Southerners, calls him a Southerner, and he's like, I'm not a Southerner.
I'm from the North.
And she's like, anything below the wall is fucking South, dude. And he's like, well, I guess it's all how you're standing. And she's like, yeah.
That's what I'm telling you, bruh.
And
anyway.
Yeah, and so she said the Stark in Winterfell wanted Bale's head, and so in bitterness, he had called Bale a coward. So Bale scaled the wall, skipped down the King's Road, and walked into Winterfell, harp in hand, naming himself Sigiric of Skagos. And Sigiric, in the old tongue, means deceivers, which she is very fucking intent on making note that the giants still to this day speak.
So am I letting you finish before
No, we can
bring
dive
up,
into
Mance?
Mance Rayder,
So
who has done this already.
Is this really?
I think this is
of...
I think this is a tale of Mance.
Yeah, like
I don't think that Bale the Bard is something that fucking they tell among.
Right.
I think this is Mance.
Her
Rayder's
just
tale.
teasing,
and maybe
like, it's probably a song.
Mance uses Bale when he goes. Or is it Abel?
Able. But if you look, it's the exact same 4 letters.
It's an anagram. And so, I think this is Mance's
thing
to...
I don't recall this story.
I don't either.
I know, obviously,
this chapter
that Mance is there. We talked about it in fucking the 3rd episode,
when he
4th
was
episode.
At Robert's Feast.
He was there at Robert's Feast, and she's just recanting that. And it's funny on, the first 2 or 3 rereads before Dance came out and like this kind of knowledge became open.
Yeah.
Never picking up on this on those initial reads.
So then, if it's about Mance, who is the winter rose who was plucked?
See, now I I was wondering if there wasn't some embellishment in the story.
Oh, absolutely. That's what's fun. Like that's the hard part about it is what story, and because we know Mance Rayder takes the name of Abel and goes down to Winterfell in the guise of a bard.
We also know that he's done that before.
And he has done it before.
So I would imagine that this is Martin teasing that time.
Yeah.
But referring to other previous times.
Something in history.
And maybe it's not nearly as, again, big as that, where it's not necessarily known.
Yeah.
Or there's no child actually born of it.
Can I say the elephant on the table? Winter roses are associated with Lyanna.
Right.
Like... The fuck does that imply, dude?
Are they saying, like, he came down and slept with Lyanna, and so
impregnated Lyanna?
And that means that, like...
Like, that's the new theory.
John is Mance's father.
M plus L equals J. Not fucking...
Mance's father.
Like...
Okay. All right.
I mean, it's odd. She goes on to say that Bale was fucking welcomed with open arms. He ate at Lord Stark's table and played so beautifully that the Lord offered to let him name his own reward. And in response, Bale said, "All I ask is a flower, the fairest flower that grows in all the gardens of Winterfell." And so, it just so happened that the winter roses were coming into bloom. Very rare, very valuable, and the Lord Stark commanded the most beautiful in the garden be plucked to give to the singer. But come morning, when they went to give him the flower, the singer had vanished, as did Lord Brandon's maiden daughter. So this is the first time we get the name of the Lord. And her bed was empty, but for the pale blue rose that Bale had left on her pillow. On her flower. So John immediately fact checks this and is like, which Brandon? Brandon the builder? Brandon the shipwright? And she's like, Brandon the daughterless. Do you want to hear the fucking story or not? But I really like that John immediately is like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Who is this guy? Hold on.
Which Brandon? Because I know all the tales about Brandon. I got old Nan for this shit. She's our Winterfellopedia.
And she knows all your stories because she's old Nan.
And she's old Nan. She lived among you people. She's a children of the forest. Like, what you looking up? Nate's looking up something.
I was just trying to see if I could pull up some of the Brandon Starks from history.
Yes.
Just see if there was any that fit this kind of story.
Brandon the daughterless?
Yeah, exactly. But it's obviously going to pull up all... It's a really tough one to
That's
to
a lot.
narrow
If
down.
anyone, of course, knows if there's a particular Brandon that fits this story greatly, please let us know. Write us in. But John tells her to go on, and so she does. At Lord Brandon's behest, the black crows flew from their castles in the hundreds, but never found any sign of the Lord's daughter. For most a year, until one night, as he lay waiting to die, Lord Brandon heard a child's cry, and found his daughter in her bedchamber asleep with babe at her breast. And John's like, so Bale brought her back?
Yeah.
And she's like, no.
They never left.
They had been in Winterfell all the time, hiding with the dead beneath the castle.
Martin, you motherfucker.
Hi, Bran.
You motherfucker.
Hi, Bran.
See, now... Is that part supposed to just be shit coincidence that...
Oh, yes.
Like that she's...
This is Martin.
Bran Stark
Let
is
me
down.
use this story, which is either embellishment or a story that she's actually heard that is true, and let me add some things that people will pick up on or have to reread to pick up on. But straight up that, in this story, there's someone hiding from the current Lord of Winterfell and all the people looking for him in the crypts. And that's what Bran is currently doing at this very moment. And so I think it's just Martin being like, you get that?
Did you catch it? So the wiki, I went to a Song of Ice and Fire wiki.
Yep.
And essentially it says basically what we've kind of said, that there's not any evidence and nobody really knows for certain whether he actually exists or not, but...
Word. So it's then said that Lord Brandon's daughter loved Bael so much she bared him a child, and Ygritte kind of digresses at this point and is like, but Bael kind of claimed all the ladies loved him in the song, so he's a bard, that's what they do. But Bael left the child in payment for the rose he had plucked unasked, and that boy grew to be the next Lord Stark. You have Bael's blood in you, same as me. And Jon's like, it never happened.
I really like the idea that it could.
Oh, absolutely.
And I love that
I think that's the inherent mystery with the Starks, is how much tie do they have to this north. They are the northernmost civilized place, and all of their history directly ties to Children of the Forest, the North, the Wall, and
now a wildling.
And now the potential wildlings.
King Beyond the Wall.
King Beyond the Wall.
Like, he's got king's blood.
They've had all sorts of crazy fucking shit. People marrying marrying White Walkers and shit. Yeah. So it's wild. But
so Jon's pretty skeptical about the whole business. Because who wouldn't be, to be fair?
And Ygritte's like, might be it did, or might be it didn't. Either way, it's a good fucking song.
It's a good song.
And
it's a banger, yo.
Which the song always ends with them finding the babe, but there is a darker end to the story. 30 years later, Bael was king beyond the wall and led the free folk south, and it was the young Lord Stark who met him at the frozen ford and killed him, for Bael would not lift a sword against his own son. And Jon says, so the son slew the father. And she was like, aye, but gods hate kinslayers, even unknowing ones.
So it's very Oedipus without the incest.
Oh, yeah.
And so I thought that was kind of cool.
Lord Stark returned, and his mother saw Bael's head on a spear, and thus threw herself from a tower in grief. A Chardane, anyone?
Yeah.
Her son did not long outlive her. One of his lords peeled his skin and wore him for a cloak. So a Bolton got him.
It was actually Roose, because he's been around since forever.
Shut the fuck up.
Because he's Bolton.
So many cool things about that story.
And we found more evidence that Roose was.
But it's a very Oedipus-y.
Yeah, with the killing the father and then coming back
with the mother.
The mother dying by flinging herself out of grief.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a neat concept there, and just a cool ending.
I feel like that's sort of the embellishment, though, that like the father fights the son because there's got to be a lesson, and so I feel like this here is where it gets very story.
Yeah, story driven.
But Jon says, "Yo, Bael was a liar."
Yeah, you're fucking wrong.
And she says, "No, but a bard's truth is different than yours or mine. And anyway, you asked for the fucking story." So then she just turns away and closes her eyes like she's going to sleep. Yeah. Done.
Which basically, as that point is happening, the sun's rising anyway, and Qhorin is showing up.
Look to the east
with the ghost
when the dawn.
Yeah, he's not Gandalf.
He is.
Gandalf's magical. He's more grounded.
True. Yeah, you're right.
And so he's more of an Aragorn, unfortunately.
Yep. Aragorn's cool. Stonesnake spied Qhorin in the rest, and Jon woke up Ygritte, and they descend down to meet him. And luckily, there's gentler paths that lead down, then it was up. And in a narrow defile, the brothers appeared, which, Nate and I had this conversation. I had to look up defile because I didn't know. And it is apparently a military term of like a narrow corridor where soldiers are first forced to walk single file. So there's your word of the day, folks. Reading is fundamental. Look up words if you don't know them, kids. It's fun stuff. You learn something. Anyway, so they meet in this very narrow mountain pass, which I love this scene. I really like. And then
the adorable running through the field moment.
Ghost races ahead to see Jon.
How come? So this is, of all the things, because we usually are pretty firm on, we enjoyed the show. Who cares what happened? I know some things might not be the way people like, but that was their biggest flop, that they didn't have a fucking charging across a field moment with Ghost.
I mean, it's in a narrow corridor, but it's still just as adorable.
It still looks the same.
I loved it, yeah. And then Jon immediately, and it's, I mean, if
who's the goodest boy
listeners,
ever?
If you could meet Beric Dondarrion, this is what Beric Dondarrion does. He likes to gently take people's arm in his mouth and just kind of hold it there and let you know that he's got you. And that's what Jon does with Ghost. He immediately presents his arm, and Ghost is a little rougher, I think, and kind of
Jon,
whips it.
because he knows.
But yeah, it's fun. They're playing, and Ygritte is just like, yo, what the fuck, dude? You just put your arm in that thing's mouth.
You were just like, here, bro.
And I love it. I love that she's
shit.
tripping
the
tits.
mad respect, I think, that is...
Oh, yeah, immediately is like, yo, he's of the north. Like,
bitch is wet.
This guy is of the north. Oh.
No, that's fucking...
Well, I mean, it's frozen.
Eventually. It's frozen.
It's gotta melt. The Halfhand made no comment on the prisoner, and Stonesnake tells him what went down, that they killed the two, and Jon just kind of feels compelled to be like, she yielded to me. And
yielded.
So Qhorin walks up and asks Ygritte if she knows who he is, and she does. And he's like, so, tell me true. If you guys caught me, what would happen? And she's like, we'd give you a slower death if you yielded, because we'd want to kill you longer.
For being a little coward-ass bitch.
And he's like, yeah, that's what I thought. And he's like, we've no food to take for her, and we can't spare a man to watch her,
And then,
Jon.
Eben is like, yo, and all it takes is for her to just break one shout to warn somebody or alert them of our presence.
But they're not, nobody's being unkind. Nobody's like, you fucking idiot.
No,
you
not
pussy,
at all.
You shouldn't have spared her.
Right.
Like, and they even, Qhorin goes on, you need to do what needs to be done.
And I think that part of that is Qhorin, chose him specifically. And knows that this is his first ever actual ranging.
I think he's grooming him as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think
he saw what Mormont
saw exactly what Mormont
and was like,
saw.
oh, this kid's capable.
Yeah.
He needs to see the fucking... he needs to see the
Qhorin's
North.
also a little more tied in and knows that with the wolf, he's very stark.
Yeah.
He's got these traits. And I think, because that's what he says here, you are blood of Winterfell. The man who passes the sentence swings the sword. You took her captive, so it's up to you to deal with it, because we can't take care of her. And a man of the Night's Watch now, and she is a wildling, our sworn enemy, who will tell the people we're trying to figure out what they're doing what we're doing.
What's happening.
And so I just love the way Qhorin breaks it down both ways, like appealing to Ned Stark first, and then to his honor of the Night's Watch, and you need to do what needs to be done. And then he goes on to tell him, well, he tells the others, come with me. It's going to be easier for him to do it if we're not here to see it. And so he leads them down.
I mean, partially because, it's his second kill, but it's also a woman.
It's also a woman, and there's a little more tenderness. Jon's young. He's not hardened to death yet, so it's going to be harder for him
to kill a woman in this world.
Who seems more innocent, And so then it's just Jon, Ghost, and Ygritte. Little Ghostie's here for this important moment.
Dude, Ghost staying, I absolutely adore, because now when he does what he does, she has no choice but to run.
Oh, yeah.
Like, she can't fight him.
No,
like, did you see that motherfucker sitting over there? Mm-mm.
That wolf will fuck you up. So he thought she would try to run, but she just stood there looking at him, and she says, you don't have to do it. Mance would take you. I know he would. There are secret ways. Them crows would never catch us. Secret ways.
Dude. So caves
I
and
think
stuff
just
like
little clefts,
that they
little
know,
quick, narrow defiles.
Actually, if you stop here instead of continuing the path and climb up to this ridge,
looks sheer, but you can fit through.
You can squeeze through and get over to this spot instead, type thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so he says, "I'm as much a crow as they are," and she nods, resigned. And I respect Ygritte so much for this scene.
Yeah.
He draws Longclaw, and he asks, "Aren't you afraid?" And she says, "Last night I was, but now the sun's up." And that's it. Night is the time to be afraid in the North, because that's when the White Walkers remove and all that stuff.
But the sun's up.
It's a beautiful day now.
It's a good day to die.
Do it in the sun. So she kneels before him and bares her neck and says, "Strike hard and strike true, Crow, or I'll come back and haunt you." And so he puts the steel to her neck to mark the blow, and she shivers. That's cold. Go on. Could you...
Dude, the chill
I
of the
feel like
sword
Valerian steel is even colder.
Dude, I'm
and
getting
the way
chills
it just
from it.
pulls the cold in, that steel is fucking... And says, go on,
intense.
be quick about it. So he raises the sword, and he's thinking a clean death. Just like his father. He was his father's son, wasn't he? And when the blow doesn't fall, she looks up at him, and Jon can't do it. And he tells her, "Go. Before my wits return, go." And she went.
Yeah. All right.
So she skirts.
That's the end of the chapter.
And Jon has freed his captive, the wildling Ygritte.
Holy fuck!
What a good chapter.
Now, that's kind of just huge for his character, because we discussed. I don't know if we mentioned it during our very first chapter, Bran 1 of Game of Thrones, or if it was a later episode where we brought it up. But the absolute it didn't matter what Garrett said to Ned Stark. He was guilty.
Yeah.
He betrayed his vows.
Yep.
He that's that.
Yep.
Sorry, brah. Jon just did that.
Yep.
Right now. He just completely, he's a dead man if he ever admits what he just did. Because of the way of the law, the fucking rule that's completely stupid. But do you think obviously he fucked up, but...
I mean, we know what comes of it.
Well, yeah. I mean...
My question more about this is, do you think he would have done it either way, or do you think it was inspired because of the tale she told and the things she said about it's all about where you stand and how you look at things? Or do you think he would have done it regardless of if it was any woman? Is it just because she's a woman and he's naive, thinking that she's the gentler sex?
I think a lot of it...
Or is it the story she told and the Winterfell that she was drilling
He allowed himself to bond with her.
Exactly.
Because it started with, from that very first look, what stopped him from killing her immediately is the fire in her eyes, like
reminding him of Arya.
Yep. And now my reason for going this way is the knowledge that Martin had intended the love triangle initially of Jon, Tyrion, and Arya.
Yeah.
As odd and weird as that would be, all these aspects of Arya's personality in another person
to make him attractive
can then give him that instead. Yeah. And so throughout all of it, even to I get to die today. The sun's up.
Yeah.
Like what better? And you could join us. We could.
Mance would take you.
You could be free too. What do you say?
So you think it was he would
her specifically? If he didn't talk, if they took her captive, waited for Qhorin to get there, Qhorin and Stonesnake questioned her, then I think he could have done it. It would have been, hey, now that we're done questioning her, you shouldn't have taken her captive. We can't, and laid out that same argument, but then made him kill. I think he could have done it. And so I do think a lot of it is because he was able to develop the bond, see how Arya-like she is, how wild she is.
Yep.
And he likes that, man. It's his spot. That's his thing. That's his fucking... That's his
fetish.
There you go.
Anyway, you got an inductee?
Yeah, so I feel like I'm just taking the easy one, but it's just because he was so fucking badass. I have to go with Stonesnake, man. He's just so fucking cool. I can't help it. I thought he was Qhorin for a minute. Like I hate, because I'm pretty sure all these guys die.
Yeah.
And I
really like Stonesnake.
I'm upset about that now.
In what happens.
Yeah,
with him,
I really like him, and I want to keep an eye on Squire Dalbridge.
That's going to be mine, is Squire Dalbridge,
Dope.
because I respect the fuck out of a 50-year-old man who's keeping up with these guys up here in these harsh of conditions, which is also harkening back to Ygritte and Jon. I mean, harsh conditions bond quicker. I mean, even though they're on the opposite side, they did spend a night.
It's so Romeo and Juliet. Oh God, it's Romeo and Juliet.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the star-crossed lovers on the opposite sides.
Talk to Shakes of Thrones on Twitter, because I'm sure that she stars on Isle of Faces sometimes.
But Squire Dalbridge, for being able to keep up, and fuck me, man, he's just got to be miserable. But he's not complaining. He's handling himself.
He eyed her suspiciously.
Yeah,
but he never said anything.
Yeah, no, they're
also,
not like dirty wildling bitch.
I think that goes to show the honor of this group in particular.
Qhorin knows who he picked.
Yeah,
Qhorin knows.
No,
his
we
men.
understand. Yep. You're doing shit because you're a little odd. You're new. You're weird. You're wild. But like, why?
Yeah.
Why? But we're not like it. Qhorin will handle it.
Yeah,
Qhorin's got this shit.
Yeah, no, I think Qhorin knew his men and picked them all, for that forethought, that they're not just going to act. These men will think and actually be able to be not beasts.
Right.
And do what needs to be done.
We did get a nice quick inductee from wonderful Julian over in France.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to give this a read. Hello to the boys beyond the ocean.
What's up?
That's us.
Yo.
How you doing? I hope you're doing okay there. We're doing pretty well, actually, I'd like to think. I'd like to say so. I will be quick about that chapter. Obviously idiotic move to not kill Ygritte right away. He knows it. Well done for the climb and the quick killing, though.
Hell yeah.
My inductee is going to be Bran the Brave. Way better than Bran the Broken, if you ask me. Valor to Harris. And that's harking back to the comment about he wishes he had the 10th of Bran's courage. Yep. Excellent inductee for great reasons. I agree.
Damn
Bran
Brans.
the Brave sounds wonderful.
Brand the
So,
Broken.
if you would like to get your inductees in, you know how to hit us up with the socials being in the small council. Do so. Next chapter we're reading is Sansa 6?
Sansa
5?
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, it's got to be one of those.
Sansa 4.
Sansa 4?
And then immediately after that, we're jumping back on it with John.
Oh, that quick?
Oh, yeah, that
Oh,
quick.
shit.
So,
All
yeah,
right.
we're going to be immediately getting the aftermath of his release of Ygritte and back with Qhorin and them. And so, yeah, send us in inductees for Sansa 4 and then John 7.
So, yeah, it's going to be sweet.
All right, we'll catch you on the next one.
Valor to Harris!
Peace.